Today I'm going to give you a step-by-step breakdown on how to draw a realistic human eye. We need to understand a human eye is essentially a ball, an eyeball, or a sphere. Also, the parts of your eye, the sclera, the white part, the iris, the color part, and the pupil is the black part. I'll talk more about textures of the eye later when we start drawing the full eye. Now, how to draw an eyelid, or how it works, basically. If you were to split your eye in half with a straight line, and then as you were to open your eyelid, it would start to curve more and more as it goes up and down the eye. So the more your eyes open, the more curved it would appear above and below your iris and pupil. Remember, our eye is a sphere, so we're going to start with a circle. Now I'm dividing things up into 4 quadrants, trying to find the middle of my eye. I'm doing that because I need to pitch the angle of my eyelid. And I'm doing this by recognizing that my tear duct is below the middle line, and the outside corner edge of my eye is going to be above the middle line. That's what that angle represents. Blocking in the eyelids with the top and the bottom because they are 2 different shapes. You can notice the top is a little more angular and the bottom is a little more curved. Using that photo as my reference, using it as my guide, adding additional details to the eyelid, adding in some creases and wrinkles, as well as the eyebrow, blocking things in. We're only blocking things in right now. We're not committing to any lines at all because we don't need to. Just like that, I adjusted my eyelid because I wasn't satisfied with the line that I had previously. I'm blocking in a little bit of shading to indicate some of the darker areas in the iris and the pupil. I'm starting to also rein in some of the lines and figure out which lines I need to keep and which lines I need to get rid of. The lines I'm doing on the iris are indicating the texture you see of the iris, how it's darker on the outside, it's lighter towards the middle, and all those lines are pointing towards the middle of the pupil to give a radial look, almost like the spokes of a wheel. Don't forget to shade your sclera, the white part of your eye. If you leave that part white, it's going to look super flat. We need your eyeball to look like a sphere. It needs to appear round. Don't forget to shade your sclera. Building up my values now. Starting to layer in more and more gray tones. And now I'm starting to do a little bit of blending. I'm using a blending stick, but if you don't have a blending stick, that's okay. You can use things like a Q-tip. Q-tips work great with graphite. You're able to push around your pencil marks and make them look smoother. Word of caution though, do be careful. You don't need to get rid of all of your lines. For example, your iris should have a texture to it, as well as the hairs of your eyebrow. Just continuing to layer my shadows, building them up, adding more textures for the hair, and then cleaning up those edges. I am going back and darkening the iris a good bit because if you reference the photo, if you look at that, you'll see there are much darker edges around the outside. Now this is partially due to how your eye is made. Your actual iris is going to be concave. Yes, we have a lens that makes it convex, but the texture where we see the texture of the iris is actually concave. It dips in, which is why it creates a darker edge around the outside, because it's actually a shadow created by the sclera of your eye. You may have noticed that we've not drawn any eyelashes yet. That's because we had to finish our shading before we began our eyelashes, because the eyelashes go on top of your shading. While we're drawing the eyelashes, notice the curvature of your eyelashes. They curve in different directions, and also notice they're thicker at the base. It's almost like a very, very skinny curved triangle. It takes a lot of practice, but keep trying. Hopefully you can use some of these tips the next time you're drawing a realistic human eye. If you need additional help with your drawings, feel free to leave questions in the comments below.
If you like today's video, go ahead and click on this one too. And while you're at it, go ahead and subscribe to Create Art with Chris right here.